In Texas this week, an urgent story is shaking the Christian world. A Dallas-based watchdog group, the Trinity Foundation, has exposed a stunning revelation. At least 66 private jets are reportedly tied to America's most powerful televangelists and megachurch pastors. From Houston to Dallas, leaders of some of the most well-known ministries have been named, raising deep questions about integrity, stewardship, and the faithful use of donations. For Catholics reflecting on the legacy of Pope Leo XIV and for Christian leaders worldwide, this breaking development is more than headlines. It is a call to examine how wealth, power, and faith intersect in the modern church. The Watchdog's findings. Since 2002, the Trinity Foundation in Dallas has been quietly monitoring the skies. Led by Pete Evans, this small Christian watchdog group has dedicated itself to tracking private jets owned by televangelists and megachurch leaders. Their mission is rooted in faith. To shine light where secrecy often hides. Trinity uses aviation records, flight logs, and public data to uncover how ministries are spending vast sums of donated money. For decades, they have exposed misuse of funds, confronted televangelists on national television, and even assisted U.S. Senate investigations. What makes their work unique is that they are not outsiders attacking Christianity, they are believers themselves, convinced that God calls His people to truth, transparency, and stewardship. Their latest report, which ties 66 private jets to religious leaders, reminds us that even in the house of God, accountability must never be ignored. The 66 private jets. Today, Trinity tracks 66 aircraft linked to televangelists and faith healers across the United States, with 8 jets registered in Texas alone. Among those named are IV. Hilliard, founder of New Light Church in Houston, Joni Lamb of Daystar Television Network in Dallas, Pastor Keith Craft of Elevate Life Church in Frisco, and Kenneth Copeland, one of the most recognized televangelists worldwide. In fact, Copeland's own church reportedly owns the Kenneth Copeland Airport outside Fort Worth. These revelations are not only about luxury travel, they represent a larger concern: how donations, tithes, and offerings, meant for ministry, missions, and the poor, may instead fund lifestyles of the wealthy few. For believers around the world, these findings strike at the heart of the gospel question: are our spiritual shepherds leading in service, or living as kings? Stories of religious leaders misusing wealth are not new. In Catholic Church history, we remember debates over indulgences and the lavish spending of certain leaders in the Renaissance, which sparked reform and reflection. In modern times, televangelist scandals in the 1980s and 1990s. Names like Robert Tilton, Jimmy Swaggart, and others shook the faith of millions. Trinity Foundation itself played a role in exposing these abuses, at times leading to prison sentences or financial collapse of ministries. Yet, each new generation seems to face the same test: when preachers accumulate airplanes, mansions, and fortunes, does it reflect Christ, who had no place to lay his head? Or does it reveal how easily power and prosperity can corrupt even those who preach the word? This latest expose calls Christians once again to learn from history and guard against repeating it. Faith, stewardship, and integrity. At the heart of this story lies a profound moral question: what does stewardship look like in the church today? Some pastors argue that private jets allow them to preach worldwide, bringing the gospel faster and farther. But others see a contradiction: Jesus entered Jerusalem on a humble donkey, not on a chariot of gold. Catholic teaching, along with the broader Christian tradition, emphasizes the responsible use of wealth, care for the poor, and integrity in leadership. When believers tithe and give sacrificially, expecting those funds to serve missions, feed the hungry, or build schools and hospitals, the misuse of such money strikes deeply at the soul of the church. True integrity in leadership is not measured by luxury but by service. The challenge is not just financial, it is spiritual. Impact on the church today. The impact of these revelations cannot be underestimated. In Texas alone, with more than 200 megachurches and millions of Christians, televangelists hold great sway. Their actions shape how non-believers view Christianity and how believers understand their faith. When pastors own airports, fly on Gulf Streams, or live in mansions, it feeds cynicism and erodes trust. Yet, this moment can also be redemptive. It can awaken the church to demand accountability, to return to a gospel-centered vision of leadership, and to remind the world that Christianity is about Christ, not celebrity. For followers of Pope Leo XIV and Christian leaders across the globe, this is a time to reflect: how do we safeguard the holiness of the church in a world where money, politics, and religion so often intertwine? The answer may determine the witness of Christianity for generations to come. As this story unfolds, the church faces a defining moment. Will leaders be remembered for humble service or for lavish lifestyles hidden behind sanctuaries? The Trinity Foundation insists their mission is guided by Christian faith and truth, not politics or spectacle. For followers of Christ, from Texas to Rome, the challenge is clear: hold leaders accountable, remain faithful to the gospel, and remember that true riches are found not in jets or mansions, but in Christ Himself. Stay with us as we continue to follow this breaking story and its impact on the global Christian community.